When the truce was signed in July 1953, the Syngman Rhee did not sign the truce. It was the part of a deal with President Truman. He was not going to sign the truce because he insisted on going up to north for unification. But Truman wanted to get out of the Korean War as early as possible. So Syngman Rhee insisted the military alliance with the United States, and U.S. accepted his idea. And finally, truce was signed between the U.S. on the one hand and China and DPRK on the other. This is why currently North Korea is insisting a peace treaty with the United States in order to close the Korean War, not with South Korea. And the mutual defense treaty between the U.S. and ROK was signed in Washington, D.C. in October 1st, 1953. Since then, there have been about 30,000 U.S. troops within the ROK soil. Currently, there are about 28,000 American forces are staying in South Korea as of now. This is a picture of the signing defense treaty. Korean Foreign Minister Byun Young-tae and American Secretary of State John Foster Dulles are signing the Mutual Defense Treaty in 1953 in Washington, D.C. So from the year 1953 to present, the ROK-US military alliance are still effective, and its alliance between the two countries contains the military, political, economic alliances. So this ROK-US alliance is the main factor that conditioned the security and stability and development of the Republic of Korea. Security, of course. The Article 3 of the Defense Treaty, whenever each party is threatened by a third party, the other party will participate into that conflict in order to solve the problems. So in case of the emergency or contingent situations, U.S. will participate automatically in order to solve those conflicts. And stability, because there was continuous threat from North Korea after the war. The presence or existence of American forces within South Korean soil was a final resort for South Koreans to rely on. And also, the stability of domestic politics was maintained by the American forces, because there were a few military coup d'etat attempts, but American generals did not sign the movement of the Korean forces in case of coup d'etat. So the American forces stopped the coup d'etat attempts a few times. So South Korea could achieve the domestic political stability. And also development of Korea, economic development. The U.S. provided more than $12 billion as a military assistance or economic assistance as a chief ally. And also America provided its market for the Korean merchandise. So the U.S. is the main factor that determined the security and stability and economic development of South Korea. in the defense treaty, there are totally 6 articles, but let me introduce some 3 important articles and its contents. Article 1, the treaty set forth that diplomacy instead of force should be utilized to solve conflicts between the 2 countries. In case of conflicts between the 2 countries, the ROK and US, diplomacy, peaceful solutions must be utilized, must be applied, not by force. Article 2. This article also sets forth that both countries are obliged to develop their methods of deterrence, prevent wars, prevent conflicts. They are obliged. So they have a full responsibility to help the other's deterrence via cooperation and also independently. So both countries are having responsibilities, obligations to help each other in order to deter any conflicts through cooperation. Article 3 says that it is important to note that the US clarifies that only in the event of an outside force attacking the land of the other side, it will come to assist them. In case of third party invades the US, the Korea, the US will come to assist Koreans, not the other way around. If third party invades America, South Korea will not send their forces to help the US. These are the main articles that are determining the current bilateral military alliance so far. So in conclusion, Korean history clearly illustrates that Korea was divided not by the will or demand of the Korean people, but by the interests of big neighboring powers. From the beginning, Korea was colonized by Japan, and also Korea increased the conflicts among the neighboring powers, Japan, China, and Russia, and colonized by Japan. And the war broke out, and also, Korea became independent by the Americans, and the war broke out and helped by America, and also the truce was signed by the outside powers. So Korean division was initiated not by the will or demand of the people, but by the big powers surrounding the Korean Peninsula. I think I showed this picture in the previous time, but I'm showing again because in this map, it says the tunnel here, the first tunnel, second tunnel, and third tunnels. And let me show you some pictures of the current DMZ and some pictures of tunnel. It's the tip of the South Korean post, military post here. And DMZ, I said, DMZ spreads 4 kilometers wide. And no people, no nothing, uninhabited. So it has been like this for the past 70 years. So it is a treasure reservation by the treasures. And the peculiar vegetables, and the forests and grasses, wildflowers, and animals. And South Korea suggested North Korea that to develop this DMZ area as eco parks. And South Korea will build all the facilities, including hotels and other resorts. And we can have the foreign tourists, and we can divide the profits out of it. And about long time ago. But we are still waiting for an answer from North Korea. In high mountains, it's very cold in winter time. The temperature will go down to -30 and sometimes 40 degrees. to the western coast and eastern coast. And surprisingly, after the war, Korean War, North Korea attempted to have second liberation war through tunnels underneath the whole DMZ. The first tunnel was discovered in November 7, 1974. It took years, I think, for North Koreans to dig up this tunnel from northern side of DMZ to the southern tip of DMZ. And this third tunnel is developed for the tourists. And you can ride a monorail train to go down for about 1 kilometer. You can go down. It's open for the tourists. The fourth tunnel discovered March 1990.